times would be enough to actually qualify you for the games. And then when we got onto the circuit, now that we're in this IJF circuit style, it's a little bit more difficult because now you've actually got to travel to Europe. You have to fund it. You can't just get a cheap hotel next to the tournament hotel. Everything is run really professionally, which makes it a little bit more difficult than what I had to go through. I think what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to qualifying for the Olympics is it's not as hard as people think. I was actually running through the US team and all of their Olympic points and the tournaments they had entered and all the money that they had spent going to all these big European events. And at the end of the day, if you could win 5 World Cup events and fight at Pan Ams, and maybe you qualify for World Masters, maybe you don't, but if you had 5 gold medals at any of the South American World Cups, you'd be qualified for the Olympics right now. And that's just a numbers game. But I think a lot of people feel the urge to, step on the stage at Paris or step on the stage at the World Championships or in Tokyo and experience it. And I think people waste a lot of time, energy, and money on the experience of judo instead of goal focused on what are you really trying to do. And if your goal is to go to the Olympic Games, it doesn't cost that much money to go to 5 World Cups in South America as it does to go to Paris and Japan and training at Tokai and training in France for the week after Paris. That's all really expensive. And again, you could qualify for the games not doing any of it. You could skip the entire World Championships and still qualify for the games. I think there's a different level that you need to reach if you want to medal at the Olympics, but that comes with time. When you're first stepping onto the IJF circuit, I think starting slow and getting consistent results at World Cups or at B-level tournaments is what athletes should be doing. And then stepping outside of their union at that same level to, again, get used to that tempo and speed, because Europe is different than South America and Asia is different than Europe. And until you've mastered that World Cup level circuit, I wouldn't bother spending time or resources going to anything higher. I think people do it just because they feel like they have to. And again, they want to feel a part of the group and they want that experience.
Thank you, Travis. Hezbollah wants to know who supported you before became a champion. I'm sorry.
I was fortunate enough to have a random sponsor, actually. One of the guys I grew up with as a kid who's a black belt in judo, his name is Fred. He owns like 7 crab fishing boats in Alaska. And he owns a bunch of government contracts for fixing boats, and he's like an expert diesel engine mechanic or something for big like Navy ships for the government. And he funded a lot of my career up until I came to Boston, when I finally became a member of the New York Athletic Club and was getting actual monthly salary stipends from USA Judo and the USOC. He was a big reason why I was able to afford what I was able to afford.
Benavides also asked, would you like to learn another martial art? If so, which one?
I already know BJJ. I think 2 is enough. I'm pretty much an expert in both judo and jujitsu, so I think adding a third in there would just be a time killer for me.
Thank you, Travis. Let me see. We have a lot of people asking the same question, so let's answer this one for Stanley Hiler, please. What's judo bring to your life?
It brought me a lot of happiness, and it it really instilled a work ethic that can't really be seen in other sports. A lot of combat sports tend to do that. Wrestling does that for a lot of Americans, but judo really shows that discipline and that work ethic that goes well beyond sport. It helps in every aspect of life.
Alexander, now would like you to tell us a little bit more about your weekends. If you got a cheat day, maybe some hobbies, guilty pleasures.
Um, I don't really have any. I never took a vacation throughout my entire judo career, from any Olympic Games all the way through Rio. It wasn't until after Rio that I actually took time off where I was healthy and decided not to go work out. So I never really developed any. I love to train, I love to fight, and it was my purpose. I never really deviated from any of my goals. I just felt like I would be wasting my time or doing my coaches and my family a disservice.
Okay, thank you. Carlos Garcia is asking, what was your first thought when leaving the mat after finishing the match of the Olympic final? You remember?
I'm done. I'm finally done. It's over. That we're done. My I knew my competitive career was over once I bowed out with him. That was going to be the last time you were going to see me on an IJF circuit. And I could almost feel it just like leave my body, like that aggression and that drive and that goal had was finally over, and it just got sucked out of me. I felt like this weight had just lifted.
From that experience, you remember any who were your hardest rivals? Maybe the people that were most difficult to fight with?
Um, the good thing with being on the circuit is you don't run into the same person that often, or at least I didn't. Um, I guess I would have to say my biggest rival for judo would have to be Antoine the Canadian, just because I couldn't tell you how many matches we have fought over the years, just being American and Canadian, from the time we were juniors all the way up until, I mean, I've been fighting Antoine at training camps and at competitions since 2005, 2006. So we probably have 30 something matches together.
Hi, Travis. They
Mm-hmm.
have a comment of Rolando. It's very interesting. Say, hey, Travis, many of us have followed your career, a career that have been able to use to examples to follow young judokas. I have used the example of your fight against Old Bishop from Germany in Olympic Games of London 2002, where you almost got to the medal. The line of respect never closed. Many would have lost the temper and do something embarrassing, ham losing. This epic comeback, you are a great champion for this comeback and for uh, tell you'll never lose your mind in this combat. Thanks for this combat and for the example of the young judokas.
Thank you. Um, that means a lot. But you know that that whole Olympic experience is something that nobody could really prepare anybody for. I had spent the better half of 6 months, mentally preparing to win the Olympic Games. And when you do that, when you truly believe that you're going to win the Olympics and you're the best in the world and you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and all of your gym numbers are going up, all of your conditioning times are going down, you're beating everybody at practice, and you're feeling like an Olympic champion. Nobody really prepares you for being on the mat and feeling cheated. Um, I probably would be a 2-time Olympic medalist had Bischoff just thrown me. Like I could have handled that a lot easier, and I could have gotten angry and I could have gotten motivated and I could have come out and proved that I should have won that match. But because it went to that ref's decision, and after having fought him for 18, almost 19 minutes, and having 3 refs vote for him, and I couldn't even get a single vote, having not gotten one single penalty, having my face split not once but twice. I was so devastated after that match. I remember being in the back actually crying at the Olympic Games after the semi. I could barely walk. I could barely stand. I was underneath the bleachers of the venue because that was the path you had to take to walk back. And it was kind of like an up the stairs, down the stairs as you're walking underneath the bleachers. And every time I went down the stairs, I would just fall to the floor crying. And Jimmy basically was dragging me into the warm-up area. And I remember basically sitting in a corner crying, and Big Jim had come up, Jimmy's father, and he had picked me up, and he was like, I understand what you're going through, but if you don't pull it together, you're going to regret this moment for the rest of your life. And I didn't want to hear it. And I couldn't pull it together. I remember fighting the bronze against Antoine, who I had thrown for Ippon a month before the Olympic Games at a European tournament. But a fun fact, at that European B tournament, Ole Bischoff fought, I fought, Antoine fought, and I want to say Nafantov fought as well. So you had 3 or 4 Olympic medalists, or people who had fought for an Olympic medal at a B tournament in Europe, and none of us medaled. Wow. And it just goes to show you that there's these ups and downs, and it's okay to lose. And we were all okay losing. It was because we were at that event to prepare for something greater, and just something to take away from it. But I remember fighting Antoine for the bronze, looking at the scoreboard, and I don't know if anybody knows this or pays attention to it, but when you're looking at a scoreboard, it actually says like semifinal, final, and it said bronze. And I just remember looking at it in like such disbelief that I'm fighting for a bronze medal. I'm not supposed to be here. And it was such a distraction that I was breaking my focus throughout the entire match. And I was just so distraught. And I almost quit judo after it, believe it or not, because I came home from London just thinking to myself, if I'm really the best in the world and I was supposed to win the Olympic Games and I didn't do it, well, clearly I just can't do it because I'm not good enough, and I can never be good enough because I'm at my best. And clearly my best isn't good enough. And it was probably 6-7 months after the games when I realized that not the best people win the Olympics, not the best people win the world, not the best judo players are ever world number one. Consistency matters more than anything. So you could beat somebody who's technically a better judo player than you if you just consistently outperform them.
Really?
And it was one of those things that really helped me focus and dial in and prepare for Rio and be in a better place than I was in London. Because in London I was just young, I was hungry, and I was out to prove the world wrong. In Rio, I just want to do my best, and I'll be completely okay with that. Win, lose, or draw, like I'm okay as long as I do my best.
Thank you, Travis. I have only two more questions because Luis Nunez. Hi, Travis. Rules aside, did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training improve your overall judo Newaza performance?
Not even a little bit. Um, and you can see that by watching any match with me and Flavio in 2007 2009 era, when I started jiu-jitsu in 2012. I think I think what jiu-jitsu did for me was it just gave me another avenue to do a competitive sport and train that anxiety. And it does have some crossover, like you're still using grips, you're still in a gi, like you're still rolling around with another human being. But I think what jujitsu did for me was it put a little bit of fear into my competitors, where they were a little bit more nervous about trying to throw me, because if they landed on the ground in a certain way, there was a good chance they were going to lose. And so they were a little bit more hesitant on their feet, and they attacked a little bit less often. I feel like that was the only real benefit, but all of my newaza that I do is judo based, not jujitsu.
Okay. One more question, and the last for the finish the question and answer session. Uh, what do you think of the technical level of Japanese judo in the World Cups and the Olympics?
Um, I mean, they obviously are the best technicians on the planet. Um, the only the only thing I can say from my point of view, for what it's worth, is they don't have the best system of judo. Um, and while they might have the best results as a country, when you look at the world of judo as a whole, and you're trying to, as a coach, look at who you want to emulate and where you can pull information from on how to improve your athlete's game. I would personally never mimic what Japan does and everything that they have. For me, looking at Japan from the outside, they have so many just world champions, Olympic champions. Everybody in the country knows about judo. Everybody does judo. They're in a small geographical location, meaning you can get from one part of the country to the other relatively easy. Whereas, like in the States, it's a 6-hour flight to get to the other side of the country. I could almost get to Europe faster than I could get to LA.
Mhm.
Um, and with all of that, all of those resources and all of that knowledge, they still lose. And then you take somebody like me that comes from a country with almost no resources. There's like 20,000 judo players in the entire country spread out across the entire size of Europe, and we can still be competitive. Meaning that when it comes to judo and being able to be competitive and take on the rest of the world, it's not just the technique that Japan has that creates champions. There's more to it than that. Not to mention the entire world flocks to Japan, so they get to train with all the best Europeans, all the best Koreans, all the best Japanese, and they're still not even the best. They have some best players, but not across all the weight classes in all the divisions, because there's just so much more that goes into it.
Okay, thanks, Travis. It's the last question because I think it's very important. This is
Mm-hmm.
the last, and personal. I like you answer that. How was the experience of training with Kyla Harrison, the two times gold medalist?
We The one good thing that Kayla and I had, being in the same room, was we got to we got to really gauge each other's output. Because one of the things that's really hard as an athlete in judo to gauge is how hard are you really working, or how hard is this workout? Like if I tell somebody to do 1,000 uchikomis, for example, some people are tired at the end of it. Some people aren't. Some people can barely stand because there's different levels of output. And we were able to, like, if we felt really bad, like just physically, mentally, we're just not into the training session and we're feeling tired, we could look over at each other and, oh, you're tired too? Oh, so we're supposed to feel like this. It's okay. And we could bounce that kind of mutual feeling off of each other of, oh, look, they're getting through this okay. I need to get through this okay. Or we both feel bad and it's okay. Rather than just wondering if you're working hard or not working hard.
Thank you very much, Travis, for this incredible talk. We thank you very, very much for this moment that gave us of the all community of Pan American Judo Confederation. Below, we have a few words to say goodbye and thanks to Mr. Manuel Arañaga, President of the Pan American Judo Confederation. Yes, Manuel? Profesor Manuel.
Ya estamos aquí.
Permítame.
Hi, Manuel. Good to see you.
See you.
María, ¿nos puedes ayudar con la traducción?
Yes, Bunny.
Ok.
Gente linda. Ya nada más.
No quiere entrar el video.
Ya, un momento, profesor.
Amigos y amigas.
Listo.
No sé si están cansados de explicando con esta gente.
Hola, Travis, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Qué gusto volverte a ver, aunque sea a distancia, un buen amigo del judo de Panamérica.
Pero que entiendas, que respetes.
Hey, Travis, it is a pleasure to see you again, my great friend from Pan American Judo. It was our pleasure to have you here today, and thank you for your work answering all those questions from our participants.
Una vez más, quiero agradecer tu colaboración como la gran figura del judo a nivel olímpico y mundial y orgullosamente de Panamérica.
I would like to thank you one more time for being the big figure that you are, and for having the time to be here with us today.
A nombre de la Confederación Panamericana de Judo, es un orgullo tener a personalidades como tú que estén colaborando para el desarrollo del judo de Panamérica.
In name of the PJC, it is our pleasure to have people like you that is helping development the Pan American Judo.
Y más, aportar tus experiencias a entrenadores, profesores, competidores que han estado presentes en esta conversación y contestando todas las preguntas que ellos te han hecho.
And to share your tips, your career, and your experiences with all the people that has been here today during this session, with the athletes, the coaches, everyone that you have been inspired through your career.
Eres orgullo de Panamérica, eres orgullo de los Estados Unidos y eres orgullo para la Confederación Panamericana de Judo.
Hello. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought I lost you for a second. It is our pleasure, and you are a big athlete, not only for the Pan American Judo, but also for the US and for the world.
Una vez más, muchas gracias, Travis. Te deseo que sigas triunfando en lo que estás haciendo actualmente y gracias por tu colaboración. Nos veremos muy pronto.
One more time, thank you, Travis, for being here today. I wish you the very best at your current projects, and thank you so much for answering the questions from our participants.
Mucho éxito.
Thank you.
Below, we have an announcement from the Director of Education, Profesor Porfirio García. Profesor.
Señor Travis, nuevamente le doy las gracias por aceptar la invitación.
Travis, thank you for accepting the invitation and for being here with us today.
Como dijo el presidente Manuel Larrañaga, es un baluarte en el judo de Panamérica.
As a Professor Manuel say, you are a big figure in the Pan American Judo.
Un atleta exitoso.
A great figure in the sport.
Es mi deseo que siga cooperando con el desarrollo del judo en América, ya que es una persona de vasto conocimiento.
I thank you, and I also would like you to please keep collaborating with us in the development of judo for Pan America.
Muchas gracias por la invitación. Te deseo el éxito. Y si desea darle un mensaje por último a los atletas en esta situación de esta pandemia del COVID-19, es muy bienvenido para todo el mundo.
Thank you again, and I wish you the very best at your current and future projects. And the last thing will be if you would like to send or share a message with our participants and to the athletes and coaches out there during these difficult times.
I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to sit here, ask questions, listen. I understand we're all going through a difficult time. On the bright side, there is a future after this. We're all kind of sticking this out together. It's not just you, it's not just me. We're collectively going through this, and we'll all collectively come out of this on the other side, hopefully more united and understanding of all of our own personal struggles. I hope everybody found a little bit of value through this talk, and I want to thank the PJC for having me. It's an honor just to be able to be talking to you guys today.
Nada, a todos los participantes, muchas gracias y los invito a este próximo sábado al tercer módulo que tenemos a las 11 de la mañana con el señor Roberto Navella, el señor Amadeus, el señor Justo Nodas y la invitada especial Paula Baeto. Nos veamos este sábado a las 11 de la mañana, hora de Miami. Muchas gracias a todos por su participación.
María, si quieres eso yo lo digo.
Okay.
Okay. Remember that this Saturday we have the coaching course with Roberto Naveira, Sensei Amadeu Diaz de Moura, Sensei Justo Noda, and the Olympic champion Paula Pareto. Remember this Saturday, 11 of a.m. time to the east of the United States. And remember that the next week we also be Travis with another with a big surprise, and please register in the Pan American Games social media. And Travis, again, thanks for this. Is a very incredible hear you, and thanks of all for attending. And again, we are waiting for you on the Saturday for the coaching course. Thanks a lot for all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.